Dyspraxia is also known as developmental coordination disorder, and it is a different wiring of the brain. So brain scans of people with dyspraxia actually show things like your mirror neuron network work differently. Um, the particular challenges that I experience and many other people with dyspraxia do is things like I cannot follow aerobics sequences, line dancing, anything like that. In PE, I used to cry. I used to find it so stressful and so humiliating. I couldn't keep up, really. And physical coordination, gross motor skills, and fine motor skills were a real challenge to me. Now, those are the kind of obvious things with dyspraxia, but dyspraxia also impacts things like sequencing of movements, sequencing of numbers, sequencing of activities. So things like household chores are really difficult because it is effectively a bunch of organizing and sequencing movements, right? So there's lots of little things that as a child, build up, and they do form part of your self-image and your self-esteem that can be quite difficult with dyspraxia. Children with dyspraxia are often as well very shy. They can be very sensitive. They're known to be very sensitive children. It's like they take the weight of the world on their shoulders. Now, how much of that sits with dyspraxia and how much of that sits with co-occurring conditions is a debate, and it probably depends who you talk to and who you speak with. But a really interesting thing with dyspraxia is that dyspraxia almost never sits alone. There is so much overlap with autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and other things. Where the dyspraxia stops, autism starts, ADHD starts. It just depends who you've spoken to first, really. Some of the stats I've read, up to 80% of people with autism also meet diagnostic criteria for dyspraxia, and 50% of people with diagnosed dyspraxia also meet diagnostic criteria for ADHD. And there's reasons for that, because with autism, there's also differences with mirror neuron network. There's also a bit at the back of your brain called your cerebellum, which is responsible for balance, that is different in people with ADHD and dyspraxia. So if your balance is a little bit off, that's going to impact your gross motor skills, your fine motor skills. You're going to knock into things. You're going to be more bruised, etc. And that happens an awful lot with people with ADHD as well.